Okay, this is just We the People News. Alright, this video is without prejudice and or without recourse, as usual. I'm not waiving none of my rights, none whatsoever. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I'm not an attorney, so I am not going to give legal advice. I'll give you my opinion, but never legal advice. Why? Because I'm not an attorney. Okay? I'm glad we got that straightened. Do we have the meetings of the mind yet? Alright. A couple of videos back, I was telling people, there was James Freeman was calling for basically support in Mountain Air, New Mexico. However you pronounce that town. Okay. I figured since I was asking for donations, if you guys want me to go, I'll set up a Cash App or something like that. It'd be about the only way I can go. Usually I don't ask for money or anything like that. But in this case, some of y'all may like James Freeman, may want me to go out there and actually do something instead of doing these videos, right? Getting out and about in the good old fresh air and the heat of the day and see what I do and see how I would do it and see what kind of mistakes I will do, right? I'm not perfect, y'all. I will absolutely make mistakes. So, anyway, this is James Freeman, and I'm probably just going to leave well enough alone, let him explain everything to y'all, okay? Alright, here we go.
Posted his cell phone number and Mayor Peter Nieto's cell phone number, and I put in the description and the comments, please don't call the county, they're sick of Reyes too. And I asked them specifically, can you shut up for just a second while I speak to her? Shut up for just a second. Shut up. Shut up. So, what are you going to do about it? You're going to pull a knife on me?
No.
You're going to pull a knife on me?
I got it.
So,
you're done.
Am I done? What are you going to do? Pull a knife on me? Stab me? What are you going to do? I put your cell phone number on there for people to call you, and like a coward, you disconnected the number so that people had to call the county. Maybe we'll get trash like you out of here.
You're telling my wife trash?
Both of you.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very nice. Keep going, man. My attorney will do it.
Oh, and can I not call you? You gonna threaten me because I call you trash? You are trash. Rather than doing a recap today, I'll simply send you to the description and the pinned comment where there's a series of 10 previous videos explaining what's going on here. This video comes from a live stream that I did in Mountain Air, New Mexico about a year ago, where one of the council members had tried to put on the agenda for the council and mayor to vote to terminate Chief Juan Reyes as chief of the police department. Councilman Ernie Lopez has been trying to get this put on the agenda for quite some time, and you do hear him talk about it in previous council meetings if you've been keeping up with all of this nonsense. But Mayor Peter Nieto runs Mountain Air, New Mexico like a dictator and refuses to allow any of the council members to put anything on the agenda that he doesn't want on there. We all know how the vote will go anyways, and it'll go 3-2 in favor of keeping Chief Juan Reyes, despite his obvious incompetence and the way that he's allowed his officers to brutalize and terrorize members of the community. Just to show you who all the players are and where they stand from left to right. Left is Gail Jones, then Dustin Kaiser, then Peter Nieto, then Richard Torres, then Ernie Lopez. Mayor Peter Nieto in the center says that as long as he's the mayor, Juan Reyes will be the chief of police. And he's shown that this is true by keeping the chief despite all of the claims of police brutality from his department and even allegations of sexual harassment against the chief himself. When Peter Nieto found out that an EMS worker with the town had been called a whore by Chief Juan Reyes, Peter Nieto's solution was to tell them to stay away from each other. But they're first responders. How can they respond to emergencies on a scene together if they can't be near each other because Juan Reyes is calling other first responders whores? To the left of Peter Nieto is Dustin Kaiser. Dustin Kaiser has never really had an independent thought. Peter thinks for him and tells him how to act. Dustin Kaiser has voted exactly the same as Peter Nieto on every single issue for 6 months. which is probably smart on the part of Dustin Kaiser, actually, because when you have a dictator running everything, it's best to stay in their good graces. To the left of Dustin Kaiser is Gail Jones. She rarely says a word and rarely makes eye contact with anyone. She slips into meetings, keeps her mouth shut, votes exactly the way Peter Nieto does, and then sneaks out quickly at the end of every meeting. To the right of Nieto, you have Richard Torres and Ernie Lopez, who are consistently trying to act on behalf of the people of Mountain Air, but are consistently blocked by dictator Peter Nieto and his two brainless order followers. Ernie Lopez had asked to put on the agenda to vote to terminate the employment of Chief Juan Reyes on this evening. But once again, dictator Peter Nieto refused to put it on the agenda in this way, and instead decided to put it on the agenda to talk about allegations against the police, but not to vote to terminate him. But today's video is actually about what happened outside while the council was in executive session. You see, Chief Juan Reyes decided to bring his wife to this meeting. People informed me that her job is to supervise people who are on pre-trial release with the county. What that means is that Chief Reyes and his officers, such as Officer Woodard, who's been seen on multiple occasions abusing people, can arrest people and charge them with crimes that they know they didn't commit. Simply because they've been arrested and accused of a crime, they're put on pre-trial release with Kathy Reyes, wife of Police Chief Juan Reyes, and treated like trash by the chief.
I'm going to back that up again. We talked about this on a couple other videos. Maybe. Okay? You've been put in jail. You've been released on basically a probation thing, just without court. So, really what happened was that the cops was actually judge, jury, and executioner. Okay? Basically, that's what it is nowadays. Alright? And then, a year later, you may actually have a court date. Meanwhile, people are still sitting in jail, waiting for the court date that they may or may not be innocent from. But let's just go argument's sake. If you is innocent, you still sat in jail for a whole year of your life for being innocent. Or under some type of thumb. Just saying. Because this initial first thing is lack of due process. Sit and think about that, y'all. You're already convicted. So in all actuality, when you go before the courts a year later, that is your second conviction. Or you are found innocent from the first conviction. Just saying, it's my opinion, okay? I'm not an attorney, by gosh. Alright, I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm just telling you, hey, we've been doing the exact same crap, and we haven't gotten nowhere. That's insanity.
Chief's wife, Kathy Reyes, before they're ever convicted of anything. This is how the Reyes family has been able to legally punish and terrorize residents of Mountain Air without ever getting any convictions. Eventually, after having to answer to the chief's wife for 6 months, check in with her, take drug tests, Popeye's charges were eventually dismissed. For as long as Kathy Reyes has been in pretrial services, she should have known that it would be a conflict of interest to have her husband and his employees arrest people.
Oh, by the way, y'all, we need to start asking for acquittals. Quit asking for these dismissals, okay? But if you're going to ask for a dismiss with prejudice, make sure it's on your paperwork. Because if they do a dismiss on you, they can bring it back again. This is the reason why sometimes you even see cop watchers have a case dismissed, and then all of a sudden there's been a warrant again. Because they're bringing the same thing back up. Because they did not get it in writing with prejudice. And thereof, maybe you guys need to start asking your attorneys. We don't want no more dismissal. We want acquittals. We're sick and tired of this dismissals. Just saying. I'm not giving legal advice, by the way, because I'm not an attorney.
And then send them to her to be punished before they're ever convicted. The truth is that up till now, I don't actually believe that any of the judges or people on the county level recognize this conflict. But Chief Reyes and Kathy Reyes definitely should have recognized it. So I approached Kathy and his wife, Juan Reyes, to ask them about this. Hey, I heard that you're parole and probation for the county, is that right? What's that? Oh, just probation? Okay.
I'm not here on that.
Okay. All right. So when people get arrested in Mountain Air by your husband, they end up on probation with you, is that right?
They can.
Okay.
Yeah.
When they're out on bond, are they often having to report to you even when they haven't been convicted? Okay. Okay. So somebody could be unlawfully arrested by your husband and then punished by you while on bond, is that right?
It's a judge's discretion. So when you go to conditions of release to go for arraignment, it's a judge's discretion. The judge puts them on probable cause enough to do conditions of release were unincluded.
Okay.
It's a judge's order. It's not any law enforcement's order. It's not anybody else's order. It's a judge's order.
Okay.
I don't do anything by any kind of committee, board. It's a judge.
Okay. Do you know which judge ordered that you be put on Popeye's case? That was actually ended up being dismissed, but he was kind of punished for 6 months on probation, essentially, or?
I'd have to look at his paperwork.
Okay.
I'm sure it was.
You remember that you were on his case, though, right?
I've done this for 24 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's really disheartening in some of these small towns, there's a lot of problems going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do some stuff outside within my parameter of what I do, kind of on outside to help.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see some YouTubers that's on there that basically come to this town to rise up problems.
This is the disingenuous bullcrap that the Reyes family loves to spout while they try to control the narrative. She claims that YouTube channels have come out to try to stir things up in Mountain Air. Well, the truth is that the only other channel that covers things is called Small Town Audit 48, and he is a lifetime resident of Mountain Air. It was him, as well as many other longtime actual residents of Mountain Air, that asked me to please get involved because so many people are scared to stand up to Chief Reyes and his wife. The only problem that myself or the other YouTube channel, Small Town 48, have exposed is her husband, Chief Juan Reyes, and his out-of-control officers that have gone rogue and terrorized members of the community. The only real contention in this town is about her husband and his employees. So for her to come out here and claim that everyone else is the problem is a little bit ridiculous.
Number one, they're untrue. So when you guys
I had to step up a step further. You can see this with every single auditor and cop watchers. They change like they are the victims. I'm just glad it seems like there's been more and more people actually standing up and recording and all that kind of stuff. That is a blessing. And maybe one of these days we can get with the people back instead of being persons and actually have a legit republic form of government instead of this, democratic democracy. That's all they've been teaching us on news.
off that you did on May 5th. What you did is you caused some problems where dispatchers were bombarded.
Okay, go on.
Calling
Yeah.
to kill him, her, past officers. Bombarded. So people couldn't even get through dispatch. They're calling with fake numbers. So this can be kind of true. If you wanted to kind of step up there, please leave your name and number. Don't do that. They're ghosting their numbers.
Okay.
So there's no response. They just want to call, screaming and then they're screaming and threatening dispatchers.
If you all didn't already know, Kathy Reyes is a lying sack of shit. In the videos that I've done about Mountain Air, I've posted the cell phone numbers for the chief and the mayor in the description and the pinned comments, and specifically asked that people please not redress their grievances with the county, as the county aren't the ones who are doing this. But the chief and the mayor have refused to take calls, and the chief has even changed his phone number so that you can't continue to try to reach him. Then the town of Mountain Air changed their contact number on their website and their Google listing to the contact information for the county. In other words, this bitch's husband, along with Peter Nieto, have intentionally tried to redirect calls that come into their city to the county so that they don't have to deal with it. No matter how hard I've tried to direct people to redress their grievances with the town of Mountain Air, Trash Reyes and Peter Nieto have consistently tried to push it back on the county. Now that I know that this bitch has a number with the county, I will post that phone number in the description and the pinned comment below so that you can redress your grievances directly with her. You'll hear later in the phone call that I have with her that she is still trying to push people to call the county instead of her and her husband. But I'm urging you not to do this. I personally have already contacted the county and informed them of the conflict that's going on here, which they are already looking into. I did do a video on this county a few years ago, and as soon as county management discovered that there was a problem and that their employees were treating people poorly, the problem was immediately addressed and fixed. I see no reason for the county to be bombarded with thousands of complaints when they've already shown a history of taking care of issues when only one person complains to them about it. Okay.
They're inciting violence.
However, I had to take it a step further, y'all, and I'm sorry I interrupted. I wasn't really expecting to do that. The sheriffs in the county, constitutionally speaking, has lawful authority to arrest that chief and the mayor. He does. And judges. And if she's committing a crime, then they can arrest her too. But we dumbed down our sheriffs. We dumbed down ourselves. And it's time for we the people to start getting in touch with our sheriffs and say, hey, no more contract with these outside government. You're contracted to we the people, and you're going to uphold your oath, or you're going to lose your frickin' job. After all, we're going to vote you in, and we're going to vote you out.
Your videos, that'll be addressed on YouTube.
Oh, really? Did Juan Reyes just threaten to go after my YouTube channel because I exposed him?
I heard that you retaliate against everybody who exposes
I
you.
don't retaliate on anybody.
You are.
Why don't you go and investigate that console over there and what he's been accused of?
Which one? Which one? That council? Is that what you said?
No, I said a council
It's on
member.
13.
Which one?
It's on cell 13.
Okay. I don't watch the news. You gotta understand, the things that I see are things that get sent to me. You can believe it or not believe it. Lopez? Okay.
Investigate that.
Why
Let's
do
see how
you
good you
feel
are.
that
The councilman that he's talking about is the one who continually tries to put it on the agenda to get Juan Reyes fired. I learned a couple of weeks ago that Juan Reyes has filed a tort claim against the councilman for exposing him. Juan Reyes retaliates against everyone that exposes him. It becomes perfectly clear when you see this whole story why the entire town is scared to death of the Reyes couple.
your channel's helping anybody?
I didn't say I was helping anybody, I'm documenting.
Aren't you right now on conditions of probation with the state of Arizona?
No, I'm sure not.
It must be wrong of you getting arrested and tased by
And he's getting sued, and it was dismissed 2 weeks later, as soon as the prosecutor saw it.
Okay, so see, you just basically said something was wrong, but you don't think he should have
You know, that's why I tried to ask you guys, though.
It's okay for your thing to be wrong. It's okay for yours to be. But you guys come here and spread the most violent lies,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
and then hurt people. You're hurting some of these people in this town.
The so-called slander and defamation that they're talking about is actual court documents about Juan Reyes being uncovered and exposed. Documents showed that Juan Reyes pled no contest to battery and aggravated assault with a knife on his pregnant wife. He received deferred adjudication, where he would serve 18 months on probation, and so long as he didn't violate, he wouldn't have a felony conviction on his record. Juan Reyes doesn't want to talk about what his wife accused him of doing, nor does he want to talk about signing a plea of no contest. He only wants people to be allowed to talk about the fact that he doesn't have an actual felony conviction on his record. But the only thing this actually proves is that yet another cop was accused of domestic violence by his significant other, and the state let him get away with it. Now, him and his wife go around trying to bully anyone who tries to talk about it and claim that they're being slandered. It's not slander if it's true, bitch. But if the Reyes family is going to sue everybody who talks about it, it will end up in civil court. Then his ex-wife, New Mexico Senator Linda Lopez, will end up subpoenaed into civil court and either testify that Juan Reyes did actually beat her and pull a knife on her, or that she lied to the police and courts and that it never happened.
Allegedly, I don't know if this is true.
Beat up his pregnant wife allegedly.
But you put it out.
Did you beat her up or not?
But you,
No.
Did you pull a knife on her?
No.
Okay.
That's the point. But it's too bad. You put it out
You already
there.
put it out.
You put it out there and you
Put
say
it out.
So what people think they can do is just...
So are those papers fabricated or what?
They were a conspiracy between Lopez and the private investigator.
So are the papers fabricated?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What are you talking about?
The documents with the probation, with a signature on it, I've asked you multiple times, is that your signature? And are the papers fully fabricated then?
No.
Are they made up?
Those are court documents. How am I going to fabricate?
I'm at Juan Reyes is so stupid, he can't even follow the conversation. I was trying to ask him if the private investigator fabricated documents that showed that he battered his ex-wife and pulled a knife on her and served 18 months on probation. He says, no, those are official court documents. You can't fabricate those. The documents with the probation, with a signature on it, I've asked you multiple times, is that your signature? And are the papers fully fabricated then?
No.
Are they made up?
Those are court documents. How am I going to fabricate?
I'm asking if he made them up.
Who?
Whoever put them out there, the investigator, the PI.
We never got to see the papers.
Yeah, we never got to see the papers.
So we,
Wait a second. He just told me those are official court documents. Now he's saying I never got to see them. So which one is it? These people can't even keep their lies straight. Are those official court documents, or have you never seen the documents?
he never gave us any copies of the paper.
You want them?
I,
You want me to forward them to you?
We already saw your video. That's been turned over to YouTube
I know
investigation.
exactly everything.
but another thing that I bring up is they did bombard dispatch, and dispatch has like maybe 4 or 5 dispatchers.
Again, the only reason that dispatch got called is because Chief Juan Reyes and Peter Nieto pushed calls from the city to the county so they wouldn't have to deal with it.
They work very hard to take in calls all over Torrance County with Moriarty and Estancia and Yer. So when they get bombarded like that, they're unable to actually do their job.
Well, I
There are
posted
lifelines.
I posted his cell phone number and Mayor Peter Nieto's cell phone number, and I put in the description and the comments, please don't call the county. They're sick of Reyes' shit too. And
They're not doing that. They're
and I asked them specifically, can you shut up for just a second while I speak to her?
My wife like
Shut up for just a second.
Don't even
Shut
go
up.
there.
Shut up.
Don't even go
So,
there.
what he does with
what are you gonna do about it? You're gonna pull a knife on me?
No.
You're gonna pull a knife on me?
That's it.
I got
So-
You're done.
Am I done? What are you gonna do? Pull a knife on me? Stab me? What are you gonna do? You're gonna pull a knife on me?
You're an idiot.
You're gonna pull a knife on me? You still got a temper? Like, you still got a temper?
You got
I
to
put-
call my
I put-
wife to come pick me up. You did.
I put your cell phone number on there for people to call you, and like a coward, you disconnected the number so that people had to call the county.
What is your last name?
Springer?
Okay, there you go. Why don't you just say it?
Yeah.
Why don't you just say
What
it?
is- And like a coward, you disconnected your phone number so that people had to call the county.
Look, I gave you
So that people had to call the county. You wouldn't
Reyes, come on.
you wouldn't deal with the problems you created. You wouldn't deal with the problems you created. You made the county deal with it. Is he gonna get mad? Is he gonna pull out a knife? Is he got a temper still?
You are.
Is he got a temper still? Is he gonna pull out a knife? Reyes, I'm sick and tired of your bullying and your threatening, buddy.
You're bullying them, you idiot. You're a human.
And you'll get a million views, and you'll be happy. Okay?
Maybe we'll get trash like you out of here.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice to talk to you, Reyes.
You're telling my wife trash?
Both of you.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very nice. Keep going, man. My attorney will do it.
I'm sure at this point you've all realized that Juan Reyes cannot construct complete sentences. So specifically what he said there was, keep going, man, my lawyer will do it. To me, it sounded like a mentally disabled attempt to say that he was going to sue me for calling the county pretrial release officer trash. The other problem is that the chief and the pretrial bitch cannot take turns talking, so they're constantly speaking over each other.
That's very nice. Keep going, man. My attorney will do it.
Oh, can I not call you? Are you going to threaten me because I call you trash? You are trash. You are trash.
Professional.
You are trash.
He's just doing clickbait. He's a human vacancy with a camera.
And the power where we could walk and be blessed. Blessed in the spirit. Blessed in...
He's doing clickbait. He's a human vacancy with a camera.
When someone like you call me a trap, I take it as a compliment.
All right.
And if I was friends with you, then we have a problem. So thank you for calling me out.
What a human failure.
What do you think about all the women that got beat by his officers over the last year?
You are so ridiculous. It's astonishing that you get the clicks that you get.
Why don't you address the question about all the women that got beat by his officers over
Because
the last
you're
year?
setting up a question that is a fallacy.
There's so much corruption in this town, it's probably going to end up being a 100-part series. We'll save this guy for the next video. But I'll let you know now, he's the school counselor at the school where the mayor is the business manager. That's right, he is a public employee. Another important piece of information about Trashy Kathy that you should probably know is that her husband, Police Chief Juan Reyes, has made her an official reserve officer with the town of Mountain Air Police Department. Since Reyes and Nieto refuse to answer their phones and refuse to listen to the people, we're going to have to go out in person to redress our grievances. At this point, we're looking at the last week of August to go out and redress grievances with the townspeople against the government. In the meantime, since the mayor and police chief refuse to take calls, the only good number I have for you is a county phone number for Trashy Kathy, the pretrial release bitch. I'll leave you with a phone conversation that I had with her when I called her to make sure that this contact number is good.
I would suggest that you probably take it to my supervisor.
Okay.
I kind of do this for pretrial supervision and probation supervision.
Okay, so this is not a good number for people to call in complaints about you and your husband in your official capacity, is that correct?
Well, my husband is not with this work number. He's at another agency.
Right, and the problem
You'd have
is...
to call, which you already do, because they actually go through dispatch, so
Right,
you
yeah,
know how that works.
right, and
Right.
and Kathy Reyes, that's the problem, is that Mr. Reyes refuses to take the calls, and they don't actually go through dispatch. I talked to a number of people at the county today.
Well, you can talk to Janice Barella, because she actually had to do kind of a memo that basically asked people to use the dispatch number, because they were getting threatening calls because people were trying to get through to Chief Reyes, and they were given a number to just leave a message. So he checks messages, but he can't return phone calls that are ghosted.
Right, well, you said that they were receiving threatening calls, but that is actually false. That is a
No,
lie.
it's not. That's not true.
Well, I checked with the records. I went out to the sheriff's department. We checked all the records yesterday. So what you're doing is called lying.
Actually, Chief Reyes was on a call, and he had it on speakerphone, and someone took him through dispatch, because he said, "Hey, take him through. I'm right here." They took him through on a three-way call between dispatch, himself, and the person, and the person started cussing at him, telling him he's a piece of crap. Didn't use the language that I use, because I'm better than that. And Chief Reyes said, "If you're going to talk to me like that, I'm not going to listen to you."
So
So
you
no,
don't
they are
understand-
threatening phone calls.
So you don't understand what the difference is between being told that you're a piece of crap and a threat.
You know, he gets the ones who want to kill him, but they're ghosting calls. So he tries to return them,
Okay.
but they don't answer.
Well, threats
So-
are criminal, and so any and all threats that are made are actually logged because
I know, he's attending that. He's addressing that. Thank you.
Right.
So
So
what
is
else?
the entire county, and
What else?
I just wanted to make sure that this was the right number for people to reach out in your official capacity to make complaints about you. Again, since we
You
can't.
can do that, but if you'd like to make official complaint, you can take it to my supervisor. My supervisor will then contact me, and then to answer the complaint. Correct.
And who's your supervisor?
It is Mr. Juan Torres with Torrance County. He's the assistant county manager.
Juan Torres, assistant county manager. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it has been really difficult for the county and for myself to try to make sure I'm direct phone calls where they belong because your Chief Reyes, I'm sure you understand, and
Well, Chief Reyes is with the Mountain Air Police Department, and his supervisor, of course, is the mayor. So you'd have to address that to him, not me.
You're sure to interrupt a lot. You did that when we were in person as well.
Well, I don't like to be called trash, so I'm going to keep this very short. So go ahead.
But I mean, you interrupted me before I ever said anything rude to you while we were out there. You also interrupted the female off, and you're doing it again right now. You just
Actually,
can't.
that's fine.
You just
because
can't
I'm
stop.
going to cut you, Ash, because I already know, Mr. Springer, I'm not going to participate in your YouTubing for you to get any kind of notice on YouTube because that's what you do. That's fine. That's the way you want to make a living. That's fine.
You're gonna deal with the way that you abuse the community, whether you like it or not. You're gonna deal with it.
So you just interrupted me. So
You're gonna deal with the way you treat the community.
how do I treat the community?
Like crap. Like you treat people who have not been condemned. Look, I've got interviews. All right. You treat innocent people as if they're guilty. And you know what? You get them sent over from the police department that refuses to take any calls and tries to push it off on the county and then act as if it's somebody else's fault that they won't take responsibility for their own actions.
You can call my supervisor and explain that to them, and then if my supervisor wants to get with me or anybody else that you're accusing me of, then that's fine. But the people who are accusing me of that have to kind of do it themselves. I don't think you're the speaker of them. So for you to accuse me of that without really speaking to me or letting me talk to the person who's actually saying that, then I'm not going to really take that.
This isn't a court of law, sweetheart. This is the court of public opinion.
Don't you call me sweetheart.
Sweetheart, this isn't the court of law.
Don't
this is the
call
court
me
of public
sweetheart.
opinion, sweetheart.
You do not call me sweetheart. I'm not going to beckon down to you. You're not going to treat me disrespectful.
This is not the court of law. This is the court of public opinion, and the public is sick of it.
That is fine. But that your little public that listens to you and watches you, that's fine. I'm not one of those. Again, you can address this to my supervisor.
I don't think that your supervisor is responsible for what you and your husband
They
have done to
actually are my
terrorize the community.
yes. No, he's not responsible for supervisor, but he's responsible for me, so you can do that.
And you're responsible for yourself. So I know that you and your husband love to push your problems off onto other people, but bitch, you're going to deal with it yourself.
Oh, that's it. Thank you.
You understand,
Thank
bitch?
you. Thank you.
You can make contact with these civilizations and you do not need the government. Look at the evidence. It's happening now.
This will be the People News. Till next time. Bye, y'all.